Kentucky. That state was just slammed by storms over the last few days that have now led to historic levels of flooding. And we're getting some of the latest pictures coming into our newsroom. They have already conducted over 1,000 rescues. And the death toll, which already stood at 9 last night on Sunday night, was updated just this morning. There was a news conference held by their governor, Andy Beshear, announcing that 2 more people had died in the flooding. There was a man in Floyd County and another man in Hardin County. And so the death toll is now up to 11. And unfortunately, as so often happens in flooding, it's not until the floodwaters recede, and we're certainly not there yet. There's some areas where the floodwaters are still rising, that more bodies are found later on. So search and rescue efforts are underway as we speak here on President's Day. National Guard soldiers have been activated. The governor is pleading with people to stay off the roads. He does say that hundreds of people have been flooded out of their homes, and, quote, we believe that number is going to grow. So one of the big problems is you can just see some of the destruction left behind. When the storms come and when the winds are as intense as they are, it also creates all kinds of additional problems here. You can see some of the homes that were wiped out just as the storms came through as well. Anyhow, things could get worse later in the week as they are now looking for upwards of 6 inches of snow as the week goes on. So good morning, everybody, and thanks for starting your 10 o'clock hour with us here at Fox 10 Talks. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on the Fox Local app. You can find us on Tubi. You can find us on Samsung Live and Roku. We're all over the place. And coming up in just the next couple of minutes, Syleste is going to be joining as well. But it is President's Day, and here is how the president spent part of his weekend. Look at this. I like this shot right there. President Trump reaching into the limo and reaches for his granddaughter, who's all dressed up very nicely on a Sunday, and then brings her just across the racetrack right there. As you can see, there were plenty of people gathered for the Daytona 500. They did an Air Force One flyover. I'll bet she loved that. And then the president rode around in the Beast, the limousine around the racetrack. By the way, he loves that crowd there at the Great American Race. He was the Grand Marshal for the race back in 2020. So that is how he spent part of his President's Day weekend. Now, in the meantime, there were some protests going on, not aimed at him so much. You know, he still shows to be pretty popular in the polling. But Elon Musk seems to be the one they're really going after. And here's what was being said at some anti-Elon Musk demonstrations this weekend.
Has no qualifications. He has no meaningful security clearance. He's got a crew of young hackers who are linked credibly to criminal organizations, and they're running around in the federal government making a mess that's going to hurt everyday Americans.
So the demonstrations were happening at a number of locations. They showed up apparently at Tesla showrooms and dealerships across the country trying to urge people, hey, would you mind selling your car? So the demonstrators say they want to express their outrage over his actions, his powerful role in the Trump administration. And as you well know, a lot of presidents run for office and say, we're going to cut government spending, and then it doesn't happen. But it looks like this time around they are really making substantial cuts. And so this was the big move yesterday, was to kind of go after Elon Musk and secondarily telling Tesla owners sell their cars and for Tesla investors to sell their stock. Not sure if any of that's going to happen or not, but the protests were underway. Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce to you, please, Syleste?
Good morning. Ron Hoon. Good morning, everyone.
Let me just get your mic on there. I got to punch the green button. What were you saying?
I said good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ron Hoon.
Okay.
VNSA Bookstore, you were a fabulous success on Saturday, my friend.
Thank you. I wasn't even fishing for a compliment, but we are going to have some highlights coming up in a few minutes. I can't wait to find out what books you bought. But Celeste, let's get right into our poll question coming out of all the coverage we just did. Oh, for goodness sakes.
Wow.
We just showed this on the air 10 minutes ago with 200 votes. Now we're at 300 votes. It's President's Day. How would you rate the job President Trump is doing? 63% say I'm happy with everything he's doing. 6% say I'm just worried that he's given too much power to Elon Musk. 10% say, you know what, I've seen this online in a lot of commentary. People are like, okay, so he's doing that, but how's that going to bring the price of eggs down, right?
True. What's happening on Main Street? Here's a couple of comments, Ron, if
good.
you like them.
Yeah.
Randy Hanberg, 9997, says the best part about Trump being elected is watching all the unhinged liberal meltdowns that are taking place right now. It's absolutely priceless. And then someone else says, Steve James, 9167, says, we'll see how your MAGA feel in about 2 years.
Okay, there you go. We're covering all sides. That's for sure. But, yeah, we appreciate you voting in this as well right here on our YouTube page. So there's 21% who are having, remorse over the election. 21% say not happy at all. I wish Kamala would have won.
I know. It's a big, 20% of the people.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing that could probably help with the way people are feeling. I mean, in our poll, they're feeling pretty positive about everything he's done so far. But for those who are maybe kind of straddling the fence a little bit, we got this from one of the newest members of the administration. Her name is Brooke Rollins, and she was just confirmed Thursday by the Senate to be the new head of the Department of Agriculture. And she says, we will fix the chicken and egg crisis. So, I mean, she says the Biden administration really didn't seem like they had a plan. I mean, their only response was to just order millions and millions and millions of birds to get killed.
So here in Arizona, Ron, we have Hickman Farms.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so over the weekend, I happened to be listening to talk radio. He was on with one of the local radio stations.
Clint Hickman?
He was,
okay,
yes.
Good.
And the question was asked to him, do you think it's politically, is there something political about it? Do you think the Biden administration did something right or wrong? And how do you feel about the Trump administration? He actually says, he doesn't believe it's a partisan issue at all. He believes it shouldn't be political.
Yes.
Let's just try our best to solve the issue.
Sure.
And maybe that's what we need to do.
I wonder, of course, this would be me in that interview. The follow-up question will be, okay, well, what did they do? Was there anything beyond ordering birds to be killed? Right, in the last 6 months or so. I mean, this bird flu, Celeste, we never had a bird flu 10 years ago.
No.
12, 15 years ago. We had chickens, we had eggs, and they were $1.99 a dozen, and everybody was happy.
Right, and something he did talk about, Hickman, on this radio show, he said they were talking about the idea of having a vaccine for the birds.
Yeah, right.
We have pesticides, that help with some of the, situations going on in the farm and the farmland in Arizona.
Yep.
So he talked a little bit about that. One question that I had, though, I was chatting about this with some of the producers in the newsroom this morning. Why has the price of chicken breasts not risen, or has it? And maybe we haven't even noticed versus the price of eggs. Did you see how many people are going from Southern California to Mexico to purchase eggs? Did you see how much they're purchasing them for?
Yeah, they're super cheap down there.
Like $5 for what is it, three to 5 dozen or something crazy like that.
Hey, I just put an order in at a well-known grocery store this morning for pickup later in
the
day.
I know where.
And it came back, one item in your order was missing.
Oh, and it
the
was the
eggs. Of course, it's the eggs.
Okay, in the chat box, if you guys want to chime in and let us know, what are you paying for eggs these days? Or maybe if you have a chicken coop.
Yeah.
Let us know how it's going.
I like the way you were going with it originally. What are you praying about? Is it the price of eggs?
Are you praying for your chickens? Maybe we all should be praying for the chickens these days.
Oh, boy. Okay, let's talk about The most amazing story of survival and possibly my favorite story of the day so far. Celeste, it has to do with the bus driver up in the Seattle suburb of Bellevue. He's driving down the road. You're going to see it here, and you're going to hear from the guy as well here. Let me just double check here. This is, I believe, going to be VO4. So here's the bus driver. Watch real closely. 3, 2, 1. He's hit. It almost, the projectile that hits him, and then he starts slowing down. And then the adults, maybe they were coaches. This was a girls' basketball team. They were driving through. Oh, and look at the bus behind him.
Yeah.
Look at how it came right through the windshield. And there's his feet on the gurney as they're getting ready. If that had been 1 foot higher, it would have hit him in the face.
So scary. So
scary. But this guy, sort of our favorite man of the morning, Mr. All-Time Tough Guy, Stuart O'Leary, he was driving, this was just late last week.
Mm-hmm.
He was driving the girls' basketball team out to a game at Mount Si High School. I know right where that is in North Bend. And here's what he had to say. He was more than willing to do interviews shortly after, and here's what he said.
The glass had hit my face, and I could see the blood dripping down the side of my face. Pretty nice bruise, pretty much yellow and red. I've got a nice hematoma.
He's got a nice hematoma, but he's already back on the job. In fact, the very next day, he sent a text to his boss saying, "I'll be back behind the wheel. Don't you worry about it at all."
I think he said, "Put me in, coach." That was it. That's what he said at the very end. But what a scary ordeal. And how about those 2 coaches that jumped into action to help him?
Good for them, right?
Wow.
Okay, so there's a story with a happy ending and a very tough guy for sure. Hey, by the way, if you haven't seen the snowball video just yet, we have got to show you the time-lapse Celeste.
Yes.
Another one of my favorite videos here. Anita, earlier this morning, she said, look how fast they were going this weekend on the ski hill.
Yeah, they're speed skaters.
Yeah. Well, they got a lot of snow up there in Flagstaff. Both Snowball and Sunrise reported quite a bit of snow. And I believe we have a live picture coming in from Flagstaff right now showing you there's still lots of beautiful snow coming out of our storms up there on the San Francisco Peaks.
So awesome.
Okay, speaking of live cams, as we go live from Flagstaff, let's go live to our mystery cam. We'll let you guys guess where this great big facility is with a gigantic parking lot. We're back in 2 minutes. And we are back. Take a look, would you? This looks to be a pretty sizable city. You know how I know that, Celeste?
How do you know that, Ron?
Because that's a big hospital.
It is.
Yeah.
And it looks like the sun is straight up. So it's somewhere maybe where it's noonish, maybe 1 o'clock.
Pretty flat terrain. These are the walkthroughs that Celeste and I do. Any good guesses, Celeste?
Jim Fine says Oklahoma.
Okay.
Sherry Nevada Pup says, is that a hospital? Yes, that is a hospital.
You said it was a Mercy
the
Hospital.
Mercy Hospital.
Which they've got a great one out in the East Valley, Mercy Gilbert.
It's a beautiful building.
It really is.
I'm going to go Texas.
Okay.
Louis Gonzalez says New Mexico. Leo Mack Jr. says it's the Cleveland Clinic. So he's going to go Ohio.
Oh, okay.
We have KDJW5. It's either Philly or a city in Arkansas.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to take it. We're going to let you do a twofer.
Yeah, sure.
Low Philosophy says Ohio.
By the way, Low Philosophy,
Yes.
just glancing at the camera,
Yes.
because Low Philosophy said earlier, driving, not really watching, just listening.
Right. And he's just, maybe he's got an assistant in this passenger seat.
I'm pretty sure he has an assistant everywhere.
Everywhere he goes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go with Arkansas because I like the sound of that. And you're going with Texas? All right, ladies and gentlemen, here she
let's
is.
go. Oh.
The answer is
Arkansas.
Oh my
Rogers, Arkansas.
For half a second, I'm like, AR. Is that Arkansas?
We should have taken the two shot because to see Ron's. Can we replay? Okay, ready? Let's do ready?
Where is that camera?
It's right here in the
Okay,
middle.
go ahead,
Okay,
Celeste.
right. Okay, so well, Ron, Arkansas.
What? Are you kidding me? We're both so competitive, it's ridiculous. But anyway.
I don't mind being the underdog, actually. Let's
Well,
go.
Yeah. Okay. We want to talk a little bit about, Celeste,
Yes.
the amazing weekend that was the VNSA book sale. Now,
Yes.
it's VNSA because that's the Volunteer Nonprofit Service Association. But it used to be, did you know this, a long, long, long time ago? VNSA stood for the Visiting Nurses Service Auxiliary.
Oh, I had no idea.
And it was a fundraiser for visiting nurses.
Yes.
Well, you don't really find that kind of thing going on around town anymore. But they actually, I'm going to show you some pics here, Celeste, from the event itself because, oh my gosh, the book lovers were out in full force. And I do just want to tell you a little bit about who the people were.
Love it.
That were part of the just the fundraising of it all. Hang on, I'm going to let you know right here. I believe I have it. Just in terms of, okay, so you're buying books, you're having a great time. Who are we raising money for? Literacy Phoenix, which is a nonprofit dedicated to teaching adults to read, write, and speak English and get ready for their GED. Duet, a nonprofit that offers compassionate service to family caregivers of aging adults. The Phoenix Conservatory of Music, and the Arizona Friends of Foster Children Foundation. So all of that is super cool. And I got a text over the weekend that they had raised over $500,000.
Wow.
$536,950. Now, the thing about it, Celeste, that I think is so cool is it's an all-volunteer organization. And so the money that gets raised, and by the way, you're getting the bargain of a lifetime. You're buying $30 books for $3.
Yeah, and on Sundays, 50% off that.
Yes, and you walked over from your house.
Yeah.
On Sunday for half price day.
Right.
And did you buy some books?
Yes.
What was happening?
Okay, so I bought this book called Piecemeals.
Okay.
And I looked it up because I want to make sure I give you guys an accurate description. So Piecemeals, it's a program in Houston, Texas that brings people together for meals to build community and understanding. And it's a Junior League of Houston. It runs Piecemeals. So in this book are all the recipes of family style meals that this group has has put together.
Mm.
And I always like to sift through the cookbooks,
Of
kind of look through,
course.
because a lot of these cookbooks have stories behind them. You
Yeah.
have a meal. Like I think about, like, even, think about your family and people. We all have traditions around the
Sure.
meals that we have in the certain times of year. So I bought that one, and then the other one I'm really excited to read is the Maid and the Queen. So this is, and let me read you. This is from Goodreads. I have a Goodreads app. Ron, do you use
Really?
Goodreads?
No.
Okay, it's a
I'm
great.
not good enough reader to be on Goodreads.
You're good. You're a good audiobook person, though. So
Yeah.
listen to this. It says, "Attention, Game of Thrones fans! The most enjoyable, sensational aspects of medieval politics:
Wow.
double crosses,
Ooh.
ambushes, bizarre personal obsessions,
Yes.
lunacy, and naked self-interest are abundant evidence in Nancy Goldstone's *The Maid and the Queen.'"
Holy cow,
So
Celeste,
the
I'm even
history.
surprised that you showed up at work today with
I
that
know.
kind of book waiting for you. Let me just salute, for example, there's
Aw,
Allison.
Ron.
They put up a nice sign. I've been emceeing this event for either 39 or 40 years.
That's
It was
so
either 85 or
awesome.
86. I think it was probably 85. So staying alive in 2025. Allison's been one of the many great volunteers out there for so many years. But amongst the great people that I met, I loved the sisters. This is Teresa
Oh,
and Doreen.
that's a great photo.
13 years as sisters. They've been hopping in the car and coming down to the book sale
So
every single
fun.
year. And I just thought, that's so cool.
So cool.
And so I got to looking at it, and some other folks. Celeste, my favorite story was right here. That's Pam on the right and Allura on the left. So Allura was getting ready to buy one of those book bags, which, for $2, it's a donation. You get the bag, and you can probably put 20 books in there. And her, up until this picture was taken, they didn't even know each other. Pam walks up and says, "I'll buy her book bag for her."
Oh, that's so nice.
She had walked up with a few dollars cash, and she said, "Yeah, I got enough that I can buy my book bag too." And so I just thought, friends,
It's so great.
it's so great.
And when you're sifting, you showed some of the images, Ron.
Yeah.
These two women, it's easy to see how they became fast friends. Because
Yeah.
when you're meeting people at the tables,
Right.
you might be looking at a book, and then somebody may say, "Oh, I read that. It's so good."
I had that experience like multiple times. I was over in
Yes.
Civil War, and the guy said, "That's one of the best Civil War books there is." I love these folks. This is Janet on the left, or more in the middle. She's been coming since 1981. She's a United States veteran, Celeste. She
Aw.
served in the U.S. Army's 11th Armored Cavalry.
Thank you for your service.
And that's her niece, Dawn. And she started taking Dawn when she was just a little baby back in the
Oh.
1990s. And now she's all grown up, and now they come together as auntie and niece.
That's so sweet. They're both super readers now.
Oh, I'm sure they are. And by the way, a tradition every year, there's Joe Dorith. She works at the fairgrounds, and I get a picture with her, Celeste, every year.
Oh.
She's out there, working the
Look at all
parking
those
areas.
people.
And yeah, look at the lines. I just love getting to spend some time with her. One more photo, Celeste. I love this one. Speaking of cookbooks, somebody
you get
bought it,
this?
and I didn't buy it. Somebody was looking for it, and a volunteer found it, but I just thought, I can't sing it. Are you hungry tonight?
Well,
I just spoke it.
wasn't one of his
I think it was
meals?
Elvis-type recipes,
Yeah,
yes,
like the
right?
peanut butter and whatever.
Yeah,
grilled
and
peanut
banana.
butter.
Didn't he
Thank
like the
you.
PB and B?
PB&B.
Yeah, he did.
Wow,
Anyway,
so great, Ron.
a great
so
weekend
great.
there, and we had a wonderful time. And thank you to everybody who came out and helped to raise more than $500,000 for charity. Hey, also happening this weekend. I probably should have warned you that we have some PG-13 pictures to share,
Oh.
like the guy right there in his undies. So
Who's the photographer zooming in on this shot? That's what I want to know.
this is the undie run that happened this weekend. It's part of the Cupid Undie Run. It's for a great cause, neurofibromatosis, which is a genetic order that causes tumors to grow on nerves throughout the body. But they just invited a lot of folks to come out, have a great time. You could be in your undies. or not in your undies. I mean, you had to have something on.
Yes.
You had to have something. But
Something to protect the gentle parts.
yes.
I did put this in the chat box. I said, would you actually run in your undies? Christina Westwave says, I would, LOL.
Yeah. All
I
right.
mean, it goes to a good cause. So I guess
Yeah.
if you do it with friends,
Sure. Well, they sure had a great time out there. By the way, if you go to our website, fox10phoenix.com, you can learn a lot more about the Children's Tumor Foundation. I don't know, Celeste, if you saw the pictures. Did you have the pictures of the dolphins frolicking in Manhattan?
No.
Wait till
Beautiful.
you see this. Okay, here we
So
go. It's
awesome.
VO8. Look at that. That is not somewhere in Florida, ladies and gentlemen. That's in the East River, right along Manhattan's
Wow.
riverfront.
I think he's lost. It's like Finding Nemo, but with the dolphin. It's like, how did he end up? Do dolphins actually swim that far north on the East Coast?
Yes. So this is the time of year that, they've been down south, is the way they kind of migrate. And then they come back, and maybe he's a little early this year. But usually they migrate south for the winter, and it's been a little warmer in some of those areas. And so the next thing you know, that's what they ended up getting those great pictures. That is for sure.
Wow, that's pretty neat.
Okay, so I think what we'll do, we barely have enough time for this. Take a listen for about a minute. I don't have time for the whole thing, but we have this great sound from Danielle Miller on President's Day out at the Biltmore. Ready? Here we go.
Just walking through that hallway there, you can see all the photos of the presidents who have stayed here and just the history of the building, the surrounding area. But we are getting a very special treat today. This morning, we're in one of the presidential suites where quite a few presidents have stayed here. So this is very cool to get a little sneak peek in here. So we have Ashley with us this morning. Ashley is part of the history department here at the Arizona Biltmore. They handle everything from start to finish here. Here we are. This is very special. This is the presidential suite.
It is very special. This suite was purposely built for the presidents because the very first president that stayed here in 1932 was President Hoover. And then Ronald Reagan was coming here before he even was a president. He was an actor. Nancy Reagan was an actress as well. And so they were coming here, and maybe he was the one president that stayed here the most. They actually had a honeymoon party here at the Arizona Biltmore in 1952 because Nancy Reagan's mother lived very close by. So just a lot of history with that. Some of the other presidents that we can talk about is President Carter, who just recently passed away at the age of 100. He visited in June 1980 and then came back in 2017 at the age of 92 years old for the Sandra Day O'Connor Justice Award.
President's Day. As we say our goodbyes, here's our poll question one last time. Over 400 votes. You can cast your vote as well, but Celeste, we got to say our bye-byes.
All right. Have a great president.